Revealed, 3 life-changing secrets to focus on yourself in 2025, an incredible motivational guide. Amy wiped the sweat from her brow as the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a warm golden light over her small Midwestern town. The local diner buzzed with the sounds of laughter and clinking dishes, yet she felt like a ghost drifting among them, so busy serving others that she often couldn't hear her own heartbeat. It was in this haven of comfort food that she had spent endless hours, pouring her heart into each meal, but tonight, something felt different. That evening, after tucking in Isaac and Lily, she found herself standing in her late grandmother's attic, dust dancing in the beams of fading light. She pulled down an old, weathered journal, cover cracked and yellowed with age. As she opened it, a rush of memories enveloped her, and the words spilled out a lifeline in her sea of exhaustion. Each entry sang the echoes of her grandmother's struggles, tales of heartbreak and strength, woven together like the fabric of their family quilt. This journal held 3 profound secrets, underscoring that amidst the chaos, reclaiming oneself was not only possible, it was essential. Heart racing, Amy leaned in. The first secret spoke of perseverance, a reminder that resilience was her birthright. The second whispered the importance of connection, of finding a community that thrives on shared dreams. And the third exploded like fireworks, self-love, a lesson that she was worthy of her own time and care, even amidst the demanding swirl of motherhood. Hope flickered in Amy's chest. For years she had buried her dreams beneath meals and nap times, but now she felt a fire igniting. She envisioned a future where she dared to explore her own aspirations rather than merely surviving. But what was she to do with such a profound shift? Her heart raced with excitement, yet the tension weighed heavily like an anchor. She imagined the disapproval written on her family's faces, the tight-knit group of relatives who never understood her desires beyond being a mother and a waitress. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As her newfound courage began to sprout, whispers and murmurs filled the air. At the neighborhood coffee shop, she felt eyes drilling into her. Some neighbors rallied around her brave ambitions, but others turned away, seemingly appalled. It was as if she had stepped into the spotlight just to be judged. When the community meeting approached, anxiety gripped her tightly. Standing before the crowd, facing the weight of her dreams and their collective gaze, she felt her heart hammer against her ribcage. Just when she thought she gathered her speech, a voice sliced through the room, slicing her confidence in two and igniting a wave of uncertainty among the crowd. Doubts began to bubble, flooding her mind. Could she break free from their critical view? Could courage and vulnerability intertwine to forge a path no one had dared to tread before? Just as her breath hitched and her resolve flickered, she knew the answer lay right beneath her heart, a burning desire to reclaim her voice, not just for herself, but for all the silent mothers aching for change. Could she find the words to inspire them all? Would the trembling words of a single mother echo in the ears of a powerful community? Amy felt the surge of hope battling against despair as she stood at this precipice, wondering if she could light the way for herself and her children. The room fell silent, every eye focused on Amy as she stood there, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. All her training as a woman who put others first collided with the need to speak her truth. She could feel the weight of expectation pressing down on her shoulders, yet something deep within urged her to push through the fear. Hi everyone, she breathed, the tension hot and electric. Thank you for coming. Her voice cracked, but she steadied herself. She had made the decision to be brave, and she wouldn't back down now. I'm here to talk about something that matters to me more than just surviving from one day to the next. It's about living fully and chasing dreams, even the ones that feel too big. The murmurs resumed, and her cheeks burned as a few faces twisted with skepticism. But Amy wasn't just speaking for herself anymore. she felt the weight of countless mothers, daughters, and sisters who had been held back by the chains of expectation and doubt. She remembered her grandmother, her struggles, her dreams left unfulfilled. A sense of clarity swept through her, a spark illuminating her hesitations. Growing up, I watched my grandma make this beautiful quilt. Each piece of fabric had a story, a purpose. And I realize now that our lives are like that quilt, tattered patches full of ugly seams and beautiful memories. They all fit together to make something extraordinary. She took a deep breath, courage bubbling to the surface. I'm here tonight to share my patch with you. The warmth of nodding heads began to embrace her words, a ripple of understanding threading its way through the congregation. And then a voice rang out from the back, sharp like ice. You think you'll really make a difference? Who do you think you are, Amy? Her heart sank momentarily, but she refused to retreat. I'm a mother, just like many of you. I balance nap times, work, and family. But that doesn't mean I should stop dreaming. If I can't pursue my passions, what does that say about the lives we are shaping for our children? The air changed, thickening with tension and anticipation. Each second felt agonizingly long, and still, hope clung to her every word. She could see a handful of women leaning forward, their eyes reflecting her spirit, a silent agreement sparking between them. Maybe you think I don't have what it takes, Amy continued, warmth infusing her voice. But I want to prove you wrong. Not just for me, but for every woman who has ever doubted herself. The echo of her conviction filled the hall. Suddenly, a murmur of agreement rose, spreading like wildfire. Amy clenched her fists as the energy shifted, the air crackling with possibility. She felt the tide turning, no longer just facing judgment, but drawing strength from one another. Let us lift each other up instead of tearing each other down. She implored, eyes shining with determination. Let us create a community of support. With every sentence, she unveiled her vulnerability and strength, chipping away at the barriers that confined her. As she concluded, applause erupted like thunder, drowning out her fears. Triumph surged within her, yet a tiny voice whispered, "What next?" Before she could bask in the warmth of her achievement, she caught sight of her mother in the back of the room, a face twisted with disappointment. What would her next move be now that she had opened the floodgates? As her heart sank, she wondered, could she bridge the gap between her dreams and the expectations of her family? Her journey was only beginning, and now, she stood at another precipice, teetering on the edge of transformation. What awaited her on the other side? Amy took a step back from the podium, her heart still racing atop the wave of applause. The warmth of shared strength enveloped her, yet it simultaneously collided with the chill of her mother's disapproving gaze. Each thudding beat of her heart echoed her mounting dread. Could she truly live her dreams while maintaining her family's expectations? As the applause waned, the crowd buzzed with excitement. Voices flitted around her, drawing in others who felt the pull of inspiration. Yet, there was her mother, silent, arms crossed. It's as if the entire room dimmed around that one figure, the stark contrast sharpening her anxiety. Amy! Someone called, pulling her back from the edge of her thoughts. It was Natalie, one of the women who had leaned in during her speech, eyes bright. That was phenomenal. I felt every word. Can you imagine what we could create together? Thanks, Natalie. Amy offered a tentative smile, grateful and yet burdened by her mother's silence. So many women were opening up, but she couldn't shake the sinking feeling that she was still closing doors to her own life. You're going to lead us, aren't you? Natalie continued, the excitement infectious. We need someone like you who's not afraid to speak up. Amy swallowed, caught between excitement and dread. Yeah, I want to. But Natalie waggled her hand in a dismissive gesture, beaming encouragement. No buts. We could start a support group, focus on our goals. You know, like a monthly meeting. We could help inspire each other. A bolt of light shot through Amy at the thought. She could help create a community, a patchwork of shared dreams. It was right there, tangible and beautiful, but then, like a storm cloud, her mother's face crept back into her mind. How could she run a group? How could she demand her place when there was this looming shadow of family expectation hanging over her? "I'll think about it," Amy managed to say, her voice tight. Natalie's smile didn't falter, but a frown from behind her made its presence known. "Look, it may take time," Natalie reassured her. "But don't let anything hold you back from what you want." Amy nodded, but the sentiment felt murky now. She could almost hear the whispers of doubt nudging her with each passing moment. She took a step toward her mother, the crowd swirling yet fading into a haze. "Mama?" Amy's voice softened as she approached. "Can we talk?" The silence hung thick, and for a moment, she feared her mother wouldn't respond. Then she turned, expression unreadable. "What is there to talk about, Amy?" Her words cut deep, but Amy refused to lose her composed exterior. "I spoke my truth tonight. I want to make a difference. Can't you see that?" "I saw a girl who doesn't know her place," her mother replied with a disappointed sigh. "You're crossing boundaries, and I worry you'll get hurt." The weight of her mother's disapproval washed over Amy, threatening to pull her under. Would she drown in those familiar expectations? She took a deep breath, her determination clashing with the familiar fear. "Maybe I have to get hurt to find out who I really am," she replied, the challenge hanging between them. Now the hall felt stifling, and voices faded into the background as this single moment, this exchange of hurt and revelation, took center stage. Amy stood firm, heart thudding against her ribcage, ready to push through, but was this the bridge she needed to cross? As her mother turned, the distance between them felt insurmountable. Was she strong enough to break through that wall? She wondered if the care that had built those walls could also help build the bridges she so desperately sought. "Maybe I don't know everything, Mama, but I know there's more for me out there." Her mother paused, tension thick. Could they possibly meet in the middle? With that hope hanging in the air, Amy realized that every patch, every tear in her quilt of life, spoke of struggles and victories waiting to unfold. What would it take to stitch those patches together as one? The answer felt both thrilling and terrifying. What would her next steps reveal? The silence hung heavy as Amy watched her mother weigh the words she had just spoken. The world around her faded, leaving only the throbbing pulse of her heart and her mother's measured breathing. "Amy," her mother finally said, the hesitation in her voice sending a shudder through her. "What do you think you will find out there? Life is complicated. You can't just chase dreams without having a foundation beneath you." The cracks in Amy's resolve widened as she fought to hold on to her voice. "But Mama, isn't the journey part of finding that foundation? How am I supposed to know what my life can be if I never take a leap?" Her mother's lips tightened into a thin line, a sign of the habitual disapproval. "And your leap might put us all at risk. What if you fall? Life doesn't work out for everyone." A flicker of pain twisted in Amy's chest. "I have to try. Otherwise, I'll never know who I can become." Each word felt like a small rebellion, a tiny step toward claiming the life she imagined. "Your life isn't just yours anymore, Amy. You have responsibilities." The truth of it hit like a gust of wind, knocking her off balance. Responsibilities felt like chains rather than a safety net, holding her back instead of providing support. "But Mama, those responsibilities shouldn't define my choices," Amy pleaded, searching her mother's eyes for understanding. "I can't always live for someone else. That will only create resentment, and I don't want that for us." For the first time, she saw a flicker of vulnerability in her mother's expression. But then it was gone, buried under the layers of protection. "I'm looking out for you," her mother said, crossing her arms tighter. "You have a future to think about, a stable life." A smoldering fire ignited within her. "What if my stable life looks different than what you want? What if following this path brings me happiness?" Her mother's brow furrowed, the stubbornness tangible. "Write your happiness on a piece of paper, but don't forget it's the reality you need to face." Amy looked away, tension crackling in the air. Would she always be trapped in a struggle between her own dreams and her family's expectations? The thought weighed heavy on her heart. Maybe writing it down would help me see what I want, she whispered, more to herself than her mother. You could do that, but make sure you balance dreams with practicality, her mother relented, some of the steel in her tone softening. I just want you to be safe, not lost in a fantasy. With that, Amy felt a door open just a crack, a possibility of connection. I'll write it down, and I promise to share it with you, she said, the hope shimmering just beneath the surface. Before her mother could respond, Natalie bounded over, her enthusiasm cutting through the tension like a sunlight breaking through clouds. Hey, where's your head at? I just told everyone about your idea for the support group. They're ready to sign up. Amy's heart soared with Natalie's passion, but it crashed just as quickly when she turned to her mother, who had now cast her a sharp glance. This isn't a decision to be taken lightly, her mother warned. I'm ready to make decisions about my life. Amy shot back, each word a declaration of independence. Not waiting for a response, she turned back to Natalie. I'd love to get this started, but I need to figure out how to balance everything together. We can figure it out. Natalie encouraged, eyes sparkling with possibility. Let's set up a meeting this week. I'll be there every step of the way. As Amy felt the excitement bubble within her, she couldn't help but look back at her mother. The distance seemed so vast, but she yearned to bridge the chasm between them. I want us to be on the same page, Mama, she said, hoping her sincerity would bring understanding. Her mother's gaze softened slightly, but the wall still stood firm. One step at a time, Amy. Taking it a step further, Amy felt her determination surge. She could do this. She could carve a path where her dreams and her family's expectations intertwined. But as she moved to join Natalie and the others, doubt lingered like an unwelcome shadow. Would her mother truly accept her choices? What would it take for both of them to step into the light together? The question hung in the air, a fragile promise full of hope and uncertainty. Amy walked away from her mother, her heart pounding not just from the conversation, but with the thrill and anxiety of something new blooming inside her. The sun broke through the clouds, painting the world golden, but the weight of her mother's words clung to her like a shadow. Would she really get the chance to turn her dreams into reality? Hey! Natalie caught up with her, still buzzing with excitement. Did you feel that? There's so much energy at the thought of the support group. We can be a real source of change. Amy smiled, her friend's enthusiasm infectious. Yeah, it's amazing. She glanced back to where her mother stood, arms crossed. Amy could almost see the wall between them, built brick by brick. But my mom, she's still worried. Natalie's smile faded a bit. I get it. Parents often want what's best. But here's the thing, what's best for you might not look how she expects. Taking a deep breath, Amy nodded. I want to show her that I can balance my dreams and responsibilities. Maybe sharing my writing with her could help. Absolutely. Natalie replied, her eyes gleaming. You write down what you want, and we'll make it happen together. We're in this as a team. Amy felt a flicker of hope stir within her. The idea of mapping out her dreams gave her strength. Okay. I can do this. As they walked toward the community center where they planned to meet with other potential group members, Amy started thinking about what she would write. What did happiness mean to her? A twinge of anxiety swept through her. What if her dreams sounded foolish? What if her mother couldn't understand, but actually writing them down felt like taking back control? This wasn't just for her, but for all the people who felt tied down by expectations. When they entered the bright, bustling community center, the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. People were mingling, laughter bubbling up, and Amy felt an electric charge in the air. She spotted some familiar faces, old friends and new ones ready to support each other. Let's set this place on fire. Natalie exclaimed, her spirit shining like the sun. We're here to make a difference. I just hope it's enough, Amy murmured, feeling her confidence waver. You have to trust in yourself, Amy. Yes, things might get messy, but you have a vision, Natalie replied, her voice steady. That counts for something, right? With her friend beside her, Amy squared her shoulders and took a step forward into the crowd. As she introduced herself to others, the weight of doubt began to lift, replaced instead with moments of connection. She listened, shared laughter, and felt the energy of dreams budding around her. In that space, she glimpsed the power of not only sharing her dreams but having others share theirs too. Each story echoed her struggles, her mother's concerns, and the very real fear of disappointment. Yet every shared story felt like a thread weaving them together into something greater, but as excitement swirled, Amy suddenly felt a call from the back of her mind. Was she truly ready to bridge the gap with her mother? Would she find the words to transform their misunderstandings into trust? And in that moment of uncertainty, a voice cut through. It was her mother, standing at the entrance of the community center, her expression unreadable. Amy's heart raced. Could her mother really be stepping into her world? Or was this another chance to further entrench their differences? In the thick of newfound connections and burgeoning dreams, everything could change in an instant. The air crackled with possibility, and Amy felt herself at the cusp of something monumental. What would her mother do next? Would this be the moment everything finally clicked? Amy's pulse quickened as her mother took a step inside the community center. The laughter that had filled the room felt distant now, as if the world was closing in around them. Her mother's presence felt both grounding and terrifying. Mom. Amy managed to breathe, feeling a mix of excitement and dread. Her mother's eyes scanned a bustling group, a look of uncertainty crossing her face. For a brief moment, hope flickered in Amy's heart. Maybe this was a sign. Maybe her mother had come seeking understanding. But doubt quickly crept back in. Would her mother see this community as a potential for support or as a distraction from what she expected Amy to do? I didn't expect to find you here, her mother said, her voice steady, yet there was a quiver, something unspoken lingered beneath her words. Amy swallowed hard, searching for the right response. I wanted to join a support group. It's about sharing dreams and pursuing our passions. I thought maybe I would join you. Her mother's tone softened, but the doubt remained, like a storm cloud ready to rain. Not join, exactly. Just be here. I want to share my writing. I want to show you what I've been working on, Amy replied, her voice growing steadier with each word. She felt Natalie's encouragement behind her, the palpable energy of the group humming with anticipation. Her mother hesitated. I know you have dreams, Amy. But dreams can lead to disappointment. It's not always that easy. Disappointment can't stop me from trying. And I need you to see that. Amy's heart raced. I can't keep living in the shadows of what you want. I have my own path. I hope you can understand that. The words hung in the air, thick with emotion. There was a fragile silence, as if the whole room was listening in, holding its breath for what would happen next. It just scares me to see you chase after something that might not work out, her mother said, her voice barely above a whisper. But I can see you care about this. A wave of warmth flowed through Amy. I do. And this space is full of people who care too. It's about supporting each other, learning from our failures, encouraging one another to keep moving forward. Her mother's face softened slightly. I've never really understood this side of you. I just want to protect you. Amy softened, her frustration mingling with understanding. I know, Mom. I need that protection, but I also need to grow. Can't we try to do both? The tension in her mother's shoulders eased just a bit. Maybe I could listen for now. A knot loosened in Amy's chest, but uncertainty still lingered. You could come and hear our stories. I have so much to share. The two locked eyes, and for the first time, the wall between them felt less impenetrable. As Amy led her mother to the gathering, The room was filled with the sound of voices sharing hopes and fears, laughter and vulnerabilities reaching out to one another like flowers blooming in the spring. But amidst the connection, Amy sensed a deeper challenge. Would her mother's heart fully embrace this journey? Would they find common ground? Just when Amy thought things were looking up, a figure came forward from the crowd. It was Sarah, a girl from school known for her sharp tongue and even sharper judgments. She approached with an intensity that sent a shiver down Amy's spine. Amy felt the air shift. "So, you brought your mom to watch your little support group?" Sarah's voice dripped with sarcasm, causing an electric shock of tension to bubble between them. In that moment, Amy's newfound hope wavered. What would this encounter mean for her relationship with her mother and her dreams? As Amy prepared to respond, her heart raced anew. Would she stand her ground, or let Sarah's words tear down the fragile bridge she'd just begun to build? The stakes were rising. What would Sarah's challenge bring to the surface? And could Amy truly defend her dreams in front of her mother? Amy felt the weight of Sarah's gaze like a spotlight, hot and unyielding. She took a breath, steadying herself in the face of the challenge. "This isn't a little support group, Sarah. This is important to me." "Oh, really?" Sarah replied, crossing her arms with a smirk. "Is that why your mom looks like she's about to bolt? You may want to check your audience." A knot twisted in Amy's stomach. She glanced at her mother, who looked caught between disbelief and despair, and suddenly felt very vulnerable. The energy of the room shifted, the chatter quieted and people leaned in, eyes darting between the trio with wide anticipation. "Maybe you should try this out, Sarah," Amy shot back, frustration bubbling up. "You might actually learn something about supporting others instead of tearing them down." The room held its breath again. A few whispers floated around her, but Amy kept her focus clear. She was tired of being afraid of Sarah's opinions. She'd spent too long hiding in the background. "Support? Please. You think this is support?" Sarah laughed, a harsh sound that cut through the gathered listeners. "You're just living in a fantasy world. How is that gonna help you in the real one?" The frustration deepened in Amy's chest, but with it came clarity. "We're all just trying to figure out our way, Sarah. This is about being brave enough to share your dreams, even if they seem impossible." A flicker of emotion crossed her mother's face, as if a part of her understood. Amy felt a surge of determination. "I'm not afraid to fail, and I'm not afraid to stand here and fight for what I believe in, what I want." Sarah narrowed her eyes, her smirk faltering. "You think that matters? No one here cares about what you want. They're just playing make-believe." The laughter that had once filled the room was replaced by a tense silence. Amy couldn't let Sarah dismiss everything she was working toward. She took another deep breath. "They do care. We care about each other's stories, about lifting each other up. Maybe you could be part of that, instead of being the problem." At that moment, her mother finally stepped forward, her voice wavering. "Sarah, this isn't about belittling dreams. It's about seeing the value in each other. We all struggle in different ways. I know I've struggled to understand Amy." Amy's heart swelled. This was it, the bridge she had been aiming to build was taking shape. "Mom," Amy whispered, her eyes brightening with hope, "thank you for saying that." Seeing her mother stand up for her sent a rush of warmth through Amy, but Sarah wasn't finished. "You think that's enough? You need to grow up. Reality isn't filled with happy endings. Maybe reality can be whatever we make it," Amy shot back. "I'm going to chase my dreams regardless of what you say." The tension in the room electrified, the gathered crowd sensing something monumental unfolding. "Think you can take that punch?" Sarah challenged, her voice dropping slightly, a hint of uncertainty creeping in. "Anytime," Amy replied, locking eyes with Sarah, determined to talk her way through the storm rather than shy away from it, but deep down, she knew this was just the beginning. Could she maintain her resolve? As the room stood silent, eyes glued to the verbal duel, Amy felt the stakes rise even higher. If she defended her dreams here, would she finally feel free? Or would she end up crushed under the weight of expectations? The silence was oppressive, leaving Amy with one pounding question: could she turn this defining moment into the foundation of a new relationship with her mother, all while standing strong against Sarah's harsh words? With the spotlight on her, she braced for the next move, knowing that whatever happened next could change everything. The silence stretched, thick and heavy, as Amy felt all eyes on her. It was as if the world had paused, waiting to see how she would respond. She held her breath, desperate to find the words that would not only defend her dreams but also reshape her reality. Amy locked her gaze on Sarah, who looked as unmovable as a statue. "What if I told you that's exactly why I'm here, to find strength in each other's journeys, even when they seem silly to you?" A murmur rippled through the crowd. Some nodded, a flicker of hope sparkling in their eyes. Others shifted uncomfortably, unsure how to side in this unexpected face-off. "You think your little dreams matter?" Sarah pressed on, but Amy could see the cracks beginning to show in her armor. The confidence that once dripped from her voice now seemed forced. "Yes. Because everyone's dreams matter. It's about believing there's something more for us." Amy stepped closer, her heart pounding in her chest, daring to close the gap. "Why can't you see that?" For a beat, Sarah faltered, her bravado wavering. Confusion crossed her face, and for a moment, she looked less like the bully and more like a girl lost in her own world. Amy seized the opening, the instinct to push through, forming a plan in her mind. "I'm not asking for your approval, Sarah. I'm here to share my story and connect with those who want to learn. What about you? Why do you care so much about tearing others down?" As she finished speaking, a wave of quiet settled over the room. People turned to look at Sarah, awaiting her answer. Because it's easier than facing my own crap," Sarah finally mumbled, her voice small, almost trembling in the weight of her honesty. The revelation hit like a jolt. Amy didn't expect Sarah to lower her defenses, and yet, here they were. The eyes of the spectators shifted between them, many shocked and curious. Amy sensed a shift. She felt it in her bones that this was a turning point, not just for her, but for all of them. "I'm sorry if I've hurt you," Sarah finally added, her tone softer. "I just don't know how to do this. Supporting others doesn't come easy to me." A quiet sigh escaped Amy's lips. "We all have our battles, Sarah. I'm here to fight mine head-on." With a gentle plea in her voice, she continued, "Would you consider being part of this journey instead of standing on the sidelines? We could help each other learn what real support looks like." Sarah blinked, her guard slipping further. The shift in her demeanor was almost palpable. Amy hoped it was enough to break the cycle of hurt that had defined their exchanges. The room buzzed, with whispers and nods, sparking energy that reverberated deep within Amy. She could feel the warmth of connection building. And then she looked around the room, noticing familiar faces, those who had quietly cheered for her, those who had battled their own demons, and those who were simply drawn to the truth they felt emerging. Suddenly, her mother leaned in, her eyes brimming with tears. "Amy, you're so brave," she said, her voice thick. "It takes more strength to reach out than to push others away." Those words wrapped around Amy like a protective blanket, igniting a flame inside her. The fight felt less solitary, as if everyone in the room was reaching for a piece of this vision together. "I won't give up on this," Amy declared, her voice steady. "This space is for everyone who wants to grow. And I'd like you to be part of that too, Sarah." Sarah hesitated but nodded, just slightly. It was enough. Then, the unexpected happened. Someone from the crowd, a quiet man she had seen at previous meetings, spoke up. "Can we do this together? Can we start now?" Amy felt her heart surge. "Absolutely," she smiled, glancing at Sarah. "Let's make it a space where we can all share, and figure it out as we go." As they began to brainstorm, a cautious hope blossomed within Amy. But would this fragile moment hold? Could vulnerability truly pave the way for something so powerful, or would they fall back into old patterns? The uncertainty lingered, hovering like a shadow as a new chapter was set to unfold. The next step loomed, heavy with possibility, and Amy couldn't shake the question: were they ready to redefine what support really meant? Amy felt the air shift as energy built in the room, contrasting the tension from moments before. Voices mingled, threads of ideas weaving together. With each shared thought, she could sense the collective hesitation melting away, giving rise to something raw and honest. Sarah was momentarily silent, her expression turning thoughtful. It was as if the weight of her facade crumbled for a moment, revealing a glint of genuine curiosity. "What does sharing really mean to you?" she finally asked, her voice softer. "It means vulnerability," Amy replied, feeling the strength brew within her. "It's admitting we don't have all the answers but still wanting to walk this path together. This isn't just about me or you, it's about all of us being brave enough to want more." Brave enough to want more. Sarah echoed, almost to herself. The words hung in the air, as if they formed an invisible thread binding them, drawing them closer. Another voice piped up from the crowd: Jenna, a soft-spoken woman with a penchant for creativity. "I'd love to share my art in these meetings. It's my way of connecting, but I've always felt it wouldn't matter." "That's exactly it." Amy beamed, her heart swelling. "Art, stories, dreams, they're all valid expressions of who we are. Let's create a space where each of us feels safe to contribute." The energy shifted into a more dynamic rhythm. Ideas flowed like water, bringing in stories of challenge, dreams unfulfilled, and sparks of inspiration. Each person brought a unique thread to the tapestry they were creating. As the ideas began to ignite fires in everyone's eyes, Amy turned back to Sarah, who now seemed more human than ever. "What about you, Sarah? What do you want to share?" I've always wanted to do something with sports," she replied hesitantly, "but I've been too scared even in front of people here." "Then let's create a day where we can try things out together without judgment. Each person leads something they love, and we can encourage one another." Jenna exclaimed. The collective response was immediate, a flood of excitement and energy. It was as if their fears, laughter, and hopes intertwined in the air. Amy felt like they were all moving toward a brighter light, where sharing was the rule, not fear. But as the energy soared, uneasiness loomed within Amy. Questions flickered across her mind. Was it too optimistic? Did they truly possess the resilience to face the risk of opening up so rawly after years of hurt? Just then, Sarah stepped forward, her voice steadying the momentum. "I won't let fear drive me anymore. I want to participate. I want this to work." The crowd erupted in applause and cheers. Amy felt a warmth spread through her as Sarah's own courage took form. It planted a seed of belief in everyone present. If they could confront barriers, acknowledgement, and vulnerability, perhaps they could achieve anything. As the discussion continued, Amy found herself lost in the moment, eyes gleaming with hope despite the uncertainty that loomed ahead. Then the room fell silent once more as a thought gingerly tiptoed into Amy's mind. A question loomed beneath the joyous surface: what if they opened up but things didn't change? What if pain lingered, or someone was hurt again? The room buzzed with excitement, but a shadow danced in the corners of her heart. It nagged at her. "Hey, can we all promise something?" she asked suddenly, bringing everyone back to attention. "Let's promise to be honest. If something feels wrong, let's talk about it. Can we promise not to slip back into silence?" A collective pause settled across the room, eyes meeting. Slowly, nods began to ripple through the crowd. The air grew heavy with weighty agreements. Yet, Amy couldn't shake the underlying worry that buzzed like static beneath their hopeful chatter. Maybe it would take more than just words to keep this fragile connection from breaking. As the meeting continued, Amy found herself gazing out at the faces illuminated by a fierce determination. And she couldn't help but wonder, how would they navigate the delicate dance between vulnerability and heartache? Would their newfound connection stand the test of time, or would the shadows of the past pull them back under? The tight rope of living authentically stretched out before them, filled with promise and fear alike. In the midst of that hope, an urgent question pulsed: were they truly ready to embrace the weight of their truth? In the days that followed, Amy felt a shift, a tangible change in her spirit. The support group had transformed into a refuge, a sanctuary woven with threads of vulnerability. Each session felt electric, a chorus of laughter and tears mingling together as they discovered their dreams, fears, and aspirations. As they mapped their visions, Amy noticed Sarah stepping up, slowly shedding the layers of skepticism. Her warmth emerged like the sun after a storm, each encouraging word illuminating their shared path. The more they shared, the more gratitude swelled in Amy's heart. They were all striving for something greater, together, yet, amidst this blooming friendship, the weight of her mother's silence still lingered, like a fading echo in the back of her mind. Despite the vibrant community around her, Amy knew she needed to confront her mother again. She craved a connection, a bridge that would transform misunderstanding into acceptance. One sunny afternoon, Amy found herself sitting at the old wooden dining table at her childhood home, stacking papers filled with her dreams and ideas, pages slowly pouring out her heart. They were raw and beautiful and stitched together with hope. But it was her mother's expression that weighed heavily on her. Could she truly understand the journey Amy was on? After a long pause, Amy looked up, gathering her breath. "Mom," she began, her voice steady despite the tremor in her heart. "Can we talk about what has been happening? About the group?" Her mother, arms crossed, seemed to brace herself, but Amy pressed on. "I want to share my dreams with you. I want you to see the steps I'm taking, not just my failures or the risks I might take." "I worry, Amy," her mother whispered, her brow wrinkle deepening. "You're chasing a fantasy. What about the reality of our life here? What if my reality is my dreams?" Amy asserted. "I'm not abandoning our family. I want to carve a space where I can shine, just like I see you doing every day in your own way." The room hung in a thick silence, tension wrapping around each word. But then, something shifted. Her mother's face softened. "I just don't want to see you hurt. I lost sight of who you are." Tears brimming her eyes, Amy responded, "You can't lose sight of me, Mom. I want your support, your understanding. It doesn't have to be either or." Her mother nodded slowly, anguish evident in her gaze. "Maybe I can try to understand." At that moment, watchful hope flickered like a candle in the dark. "You can come to the group," Amy suggested. "It might help you see what I'm really building." Her mother hesitated, but the door was slightly ajar. "Perhaps you can show me," she finally murmured. The next meeting buzzed with excitement, everyone eager to share and grow. As Amy stood before the group, her mother seated at the back, the room felt like a tapestry of light and connections. This was her moment. "Hi everyone," she greeted, her smile bursting with joy. "Today, we have a special guest joining us." She pointed toward her mother, who shifted awkwardly but gave a hesitant smile. The applause was spontaneous, filling the room with warmth. Amy could see her mother's shoulders relax slightly, the tension loosening its grip. As they shared their stories, Amy caught her mother's gaze bright with intrigue, perhaps even a hint of understanding. Each heartfelt confession and vulnerable moment spoke volumes, binding them closer together, stitching their lives like the quilt Amy's grandmother would have made. By the end of the meeting, her mother approached her, eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "You're strong, Amy. And I'm sorry I doubted. I realize now we can explore our paths together." In that exquisite moment, surrounded by people who believed in her, Amy felt triumph surge within her. The walls that had characterized their relationship began to crumble. They embraced, all the struggles they faced woven into the fabric of unconditional love. As they stepped outside under the golden rays of the setting sun, Amy's heart danced with joy. She could feel the world bubble with possibilities around her, a community of fierce support blossoming with every meeting ahead, and so, watchful and bright, she knew she could forge ahead, emboldened by the truth they found within those shared stories. More than dreams, more than fears, together they were a family, no longer bound by expectations but thriving in love and understanding. As that unforgettable chapter came to a close, Amy felt lighter, whole, the tapestry of her life unfolding, piece by piece, into a future where every voice mattered. This is the moment for you to step into your own truth. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that promise to inspire you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support for this message. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about Amy's journey. It's important to share our stories. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. They deserve it too. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Let us spread this love and understanding together.